Well, me and my old dog Lucky early this morning walked down in the woods, and I'll tell you what, it was close down in there. That doggone humidity must have been 90% or 90. That doggone humidity must have been 100%, I guess. Uh, we sat down there and watched the frogs, and every now and then a little fish would swim by, and the water was really hot, so they didn't stay anywhere very long. And we went for a walk down the road down in there, and of course there's trees all about. And we could hear the frogs singing a little bit down there in the woods, out of the sun. And but you know what? We was walking along, and here come the cutest little doe fawn you ever seen in your life, and she's all alone. Fawn doe. Not the very latest model, but maybe a couple months old. I don't know how you judge that. She's pretty well spotted. So anyway, her and Lucky touched noses, but Lucky shook his head and sneezed and scared the heck out of the fawn. The fawn run out into the swamp, up to her belly in mud, and she couldn't move. She couldn't get out. Well, I know what the heck to do, but I found a tree branch and threw it over there and did the best I could to walk on top of it. But I went in too, and I went up to my belly in mud. But anyway, I was able to get a hold of her, get her up out of the mud far enough where she could walk. And she walked on out of there. Well, Lucky and I was kind of a mess, so Lucky and I headed back to the house, thinking I'd take these muddy, wet clothes off and clean up. And the fawn came with us, and she followed us all the way up alongside our back fence there at the backyard. And but when I come into the yard, she stayed there in the woods and watched for a while, and then she went on back down the path to the marsh down there. I went into the backyard, and I got to thinking, I got some potatoes planted down there. I wonder if any of them are ready to eat. So I went down there. Boy, it was hot. And I went down there, dug up a few potatoes, and you know what? Them daggone things was cooked done from the heat. All I had to do was add a little butter to them, and it was good. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. That is a hot day here in coastal Virginia, Gloucester County. Okay, well, I guess I've ruined all my credibility. So, well, I was standing in the yard there, carrying my potatoes, and old Zuni lives up the road there, colored fella, nice guy. And he said, and he laughed. He said, "You show us funny looking, Mr. Pollard." He said, "You got mud all over you. You been swimming in the swamp down there?" And I told him what happened. And he laughed. He says, he said, "It's hot out there in the sun." He said, "I was standing out there in my yard, and a mockingbird come flying down out of a tree with a potholder in his mouth. And he landed on the ground. I thought, now what in the heck is that thing up to carrying that potholder?" He said, "Well," he says, "you know what? He went over there, you know how they do, they walk along with their head down, and they turn it to one side and they listen, and they turn it to the other side and they listen. And of course you know what you're doing, they're listening for worms crawling in the ground or bugs." And he said, and all of a sudden he reached down and pecked a couple of times and pulled a worm right out of the ground, dropped it on the ground real quick, wrapped the potholder around it, grabbed a hold of it, and flew back off to the woods. Now, can you beat that? Them worms are so hot a mockingbird can't even eat them. How about that? Them worms are so hot a mockingbird can't even eat them. How about that?